Nigeria, and the University of Port Harcourt. Thank you. University anthem.
Professor Sylvanus J.S. COOKEY, my colleagues, principal officers, DVC admin, Professor Clifford Offrum, DVC academic, Professor Kingsley Owete, the registrar of our university, Dr. Gloria Chinda, librarian, Professor Helena Marcialo, the chairman of the organizing committee and our seventh vice chancellor, Professor Joseph Ajenka, our guest lecturer, Professor Usman Koita, the book referrer, His Royal Majesty King Seifa Koroye, and his queen, Dr. Mrs. Koroye, the family of Professor S.J.S. COOKEY, deans and directors here present, heads of departments, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The man we have gathered to celebrate today is a special man, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. We paid a courtesy call on the governor of Rivers State, Sasimnala Ifubara, a few weeks ago to invite him to this week-long celebration. And at this event, he described Professor A.J.S. COOKEY in those same words. According to Ralph Waldo Emerson, quote, "To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, and whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to know even one life has breathed easier because you lived. This is to have succeeded," end quote. I have breathed easier because Professor A.J.S. COOKEY lived. I was a student here in the early to mid-80s when he served as Vice Chancellor of our university. He has been described by several people as a man of style, a polished gentleman. Indeed, an older professor now retired described him as always impeccably dressed and wearing the finest cologne. I think of him as a truly blessed man. I had occasion to tell him at the last legacy lecture shortly before COVID, the industrial actions of university trade unions and the economic upheaval in our country intervened, that I will love nothing better than to turn 90, walk erect as he does, enjoy reasonably good health, and to have the chance to live life with a swagger as he does. I am the second Sylvanus J.S. COOKEY Professor of Malaria Studies in this university. The first, Professor Motayo Bong, who is here, by the way, having retired. Professor COOKEY, who taught at several universities in the United States, University of California, Los Angeles, between 1971 and 1972, the State University of New York, Binghamton, 1972 to 1974, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, 1974 to 1980, did not like the phrase chair occupant. And so, in the finest traditions of American higher educational institutions, he endowed a chair to be known and addressed as the Sylvanus J.S. COOKEY Professor of Malaria Studies. I am proud of the fact that we are the only ones known and addressed in that manner in this university, and I dare say the rest of Nigeria. Professor J.S. COOKEY endowed the professorial chair in 2013 as a legacy project. If you're wondering why a historian will endow a chair in malaria, it was inspired by the need to leave the world a better place. For several years now, the World Health Organization has prioritized the prevention of malaria with the goal of reducing the huge death toll of 40,000 people, most of them Africans, attributed to malaria yearly. Efforts aimed at highlighting prevention have steadily reduced the death toll, especially using insecticides, mosquito nets, and now vaccines. The legacy lectures we hold here are in the spirit of World Malaria Day to help educate the university and host communities on the latest developments in the prevention of malaria. We are lucky that our benefactor was born on April 9, a few weeks before April 25, when the world celebrates World Malaria Day. This year, we have invited a highly respected and very widely cited researcher, a pharmacist and professor of molecular biology from the University of Science, Techniques and Technologies of Bamako, to educate us on the prospects of eradicating malaria from sub-Saharan Africa. We are truly grateful to Professor Koita for accepting to be the lecturer at this special event and for enduring the difficulties and inconveniences associated with the trip from Bamako to Port Harcourt. We are also grateful to His Royal Majesty King Seifa Koreye for accepting to edit and review the book being presented today. Finally, we are grateful to His Excellency Sasimina Ifubara, His Deputy Governor, Her Excellency Professor Ngozi Odu, our Vice Chancellor, and all of you who have given of your time and resources in aid of celebrations to mark the 90th birthday of ALABO Sir Professor S.J.S. COOKEY, the second Vice Chancellor of our university. Permit me to conclude this by quoting the words of a wise old man who told me very recently that, quote, "We earn our success based on service to others, not at the expense of others," end quote. You have earned your success, ALABO Sir Professor S.J.S. COOKEY. You have laid the path for us to follow. Happy birthday, sir, and the Lord's continuous blessings. Thank you so much, everybody.
Another big round of applause to the Professor of Malaria Studies, University of Port Harcourt. All the malaria that disturbs, he is looking for solutions to them so that we don't suffer anymore. And Professor S.J.S. COOKEY, our dear former Vice Chancellor, is the one sponsoring that wonderful research. Thank you, sir, for all you do. We are so excited. Thank you very much. Let me quickly, at this point in time, with all amount of humility, to specially welcome on stage the Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, who is the chairman of today's occasion, Professor Owunari Abraham Georgeville, for the welcome address. Please put your hands together.
The celebrant for today, our dear second Vice Chancellor, Vice Chancellor Academics, Deputy Vice Chancellor Research and Development, the University Registrar, University Bossa, University Librarian, our guest speaker, the book reviewer, the family of our revered second Vice Chancellor, deans of faculties, distinguished professors, heads of departments, directors, distinguished guests from all walks of life who are here, staff and students of the unique University of Port Harcourt, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. When the idea of celebrating our icon was initiated, and I was informed, some people were asking me, why are we celebrating as a university? I said we are celebrating a man who, as second vice chancellor, did all he could to move this university forward. But I also told them, if they need it, I may go to Senate or congregation to say that every staff or vice chancellor who lives to 100 years will be celebrated by this university. Can we say amen to that? All right, so let nobody worry. All you need to do is to do what? Live up to 100 years. And this university will roll out the drum. But the 100th birthday is one that even the fire marshals will tell you, please don't put candles, because they may not be able to put out 100 candle fires. So they say, please leave this here 100 candles on the cake. They may not be, if there is fire, they may not be able to extinguish it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to celebrate a man whose contributions and impact in this university, not only when he was vice chancellor, but even after then, the impact is there. Even the blind can see, even the deaf can do what? Hear. I'm happy that it is in my tenure that indeed we are celebrating the 100th birthday of this icon. Sorry, the 90th birthday of this icon, please. In fact, it means already I've moved into 100. Can we say amen to that? I've moved into 100. Ladies and gentlemen, for me, I see this celebration as something that is very unique. And I want to thank the 7th Vice Chancellor, and who is the chairman of this organizing committee. In fact, the way he worked on this project, well, that is the way Ajenka works on everything he believes on. I'm quite younger than him, but the energy I saw in him, and I was trying to follow up the energy, but it was not easy. It was not easy. Sometimes I had to tell him, oh, okay, sir, later, but every day, Professor Ajenka was on this business of making sure this event came out the way everybody will like. Can we give a hand of, yes. But I know he was not alone on that pathway. He was supported by able lieutenants like the DVC, R&D, the university orator, university librarian, and all those who were in that committee. Can we clap for them? They did a wonderful job. Ladies and gentlemen, we hear a lot about our celebrants. We hear a lot from the guest lecturer, from book reviewers, and we read a lot from all the programs. And so, let me just stop here and say, on behalf of the management of this university, staff and students, and our numerous stakeholders, we welcome all of you to the CBN Complex Auditorium of the University of Port Harcourt, an auditorium that is first class on its own. When they told me that the medical students will be inducted today, and ALABO Professor H.S. COOKEY birthday will be done today, I said, why are you even telling me the two things? The two things, is there anything to compare in the two things that we are looking for, which venue for which? Even without telling me, you know the venue for celebrating SGS Cookie. And that is the auditorium of the CBN complex. The best auditorium so far that we can see. Is it only South-South? It's not only South-South. In the whole of Nigeria. Yes, I've gone to many universities. I've not seen this kind of auditorium. This is modern. They have old auditoriums, but this is modern auditorium. And so it was very easy for me to say, let's celebrate the man here and let them induct the doctors where? Ebitimi Banigo. And that's exactly what we did today. And so I'm proud that today I am here to celebrate an icon. Let me leave the rest of the people who have different things to say about him to come on board to say those things. Welcome and enjoy this 90th birthday celebration. God bless us all.
I think that the Vice Chancellor, Chief Executive Officer of University of Port Harcourt deserve a better applause. Thank you.
On the malaria therapeutic efficacy study in Mali. He is the head of the Ebola virus detection platform in Bamako, Mali, the head of the SARS-CoV-2 disease detection and surveillance. Professor Koita is the director of the National Biosafety Laboratory in Mali, the director of the Laboratoire Mixte de la Dynamique Internationale des Pathogènes. He has many publications, but remarkably, Professor Koita has published 72 articles and given 80 communications exclusively in malaria. He is the founder and leader of the Applied Molecular Biology Lab where I trained in Bamako. Professor Koita is the president of the National Technical Committee on Polio, the president of the Scientific Technical Committee of the National Institute of Public Health, coordinator of the West African Network for Genetically Modified Organisms. Genetically modified organisms in Africa, the member of the COVID-19 Interdisciplinary and Partnership Scientific Committee at the Institut Régional de Développement, Institut de Recherche de Développement, IRD. He is the president of the Specialized Technical Committee of the Medicine, Pharmacy, and Odontostomatology. Professor Koita is the member of the Institute of Research and Development in France. Standing before us is the president of the Scientific Technical Committee of INSP. He is the chair of the Committee of Professorial Evaluation in Mali. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Koita may have many things, but standing here before you is a product of Professor Koita. Exactly 20 years ago, I met Professor Koita and told him I was having challenges in my PhD, and the quiet and few words person that he is told me, move over to my lab. And that move over to my lab meant waiving bench fees and raising funds to train me. If I stand here today, it is because Professor Koita understood that when a student is in need, the teacher has to move. Help me welcome the professor who trains ladies, who trains young people, and who works without expecting a wages. Professor of Malian repute, Professor of Molecular Biology, Professor of Infectious Diseases, Professor of Cell Biology. You are welcome to Bamako.
Thank you, Aline. Thank you for this opportunity that was given to me to come today to be with Professor COOKEY to celebrate his 9th, so we can celebrate together. I came far. The data that I will show to you was gathered in several parts of Mali. Because we thought that elimination of malaria is a big challenge. It goes over several countries, continents, and we need more expertise, a more political commitment. More political commitment because it is African disease, because it's linked to our environment, and we need to deal with it. So this lecture is a line with the idea coming from Professor Ogobara Dumbo, Professor Yeya Touré. Through him, I knew Professor Aline, and also a man who spent 2 months at Port Harcourt in the 1990s, 2 years ago. I asked a friend, do you know where Dan Crostat lives in Port Harcourt? She said to me, I was not with him at that time, but I was invited by someone named Augustine Njir. I will try to see the spelling of the name. And we met Donald Crostat with Aline in Bamako during her training. And we were struggling to how to get a regent to Bamako so she can perform her studies. And I said to Aline, can you present your protocol and we'll see what will happen. After Professor Aline finished to present a protocol, Donald Crostat said to me, Usman, I will buy all the reagents. Immediately, he called his wife and made the order. And that was the turning point of Aline's thesis. It was very hard, very difficult for her. And that's why I say, Aline, I will come to see you, because this is a part of my success. We did not fail, Aline. We succeed. Thank you for this opportunity with Professor Ikupu to bring me here and to see what you have done. When I started this adventure, that was in 2000. In the lab, I was returning from my training in the US, and the guy, Don Crostat, gave me all those obsolete equipment in his lab, and say, Usman, from that point, capacity building in Mali. I say, yes, we will do, and we did. In 2023, this is what the lab looks like after 20 change. Every year, bricks by bricks, we were able to bring that lab with high technology with several of my partners from the NIH in the States, and my French collaborators. This is the guy, Don Crostat. And he passed away 2 years ago. And now he gave a fellowship for 10 years. Every year, one Malian scientist has to compete for this fellowship for 10 years. And that also made my life better. And yesterday, I was here with Professor Ipu when I arrived in the hotel to welcome me. So the focus of this presentation will be on genetic recombination and gene deletion, two events that we've been observing in malaria parasites. And also I will talk about all the challenges related to malaria elimination. Here we have the map of Mali. As you know, is a landlocked country with a part close to the desert, Sahara Desert. We at that time with Professor Ogobara and Professor Toure, we were looking at population of parasites maybe closely associated with people living in the desert, in the Sahara parts of Mali, between at the Algeria borders. As you can see, we were able to identify 4 species of malaria parasites for the first time. That was in 1998, and in 2005 we confirmed the circulation of the 4 species of malaria parasites that which are able to do that. In the field, we did what we call the membrane feeding experiment in human. So we fed mosquitoes on children. And the strain that we were able to identify was called MAT20 from Madang in Papua New Guinea. And the second genotype we found was the raw territory from Ghana. So we try to see if those parasites will cross and give what we call hybrid parasite. So we got a hybrid gene between the MAT20 and the raw territory, and we try to sequence to see what will happen when the parasite is coming from human or in the mosquitoes, what will happen. So the blue block was sequenced, and we find those fragments of parasite that was working on malaria, and they start in you will see in the next slide, in 1987. And then we try to find in the mosquito if we have the same hybrid that we are seen in the blood. And we were able to show that the mosquitoes are able, during the sporogony, the parasite is able to make the change. And you can see now the matching of our hybrid with. And then we said that's not enough. We need to see if that hybrid, which is a crossover between 2 parasites, is associated with malaria disease. And it was in 1998 in Mali we were able to show that among the scientists in malaria group, that we were the first to discover this gene deletion in malaria parasite. To do this study, this is the publication we did. We were interested to look at the gene which at the end of the chromosome, what we call this, the telomere region of the chromosome. And that gene is adjacent to that telomere, we call subtelomeric region of the chromosome, especially the chromosome 8. And since we knew that this part of gene is a protein used to make the test, what we call the RDT, the rapid diagnostic test. And this test is made from this gene. So we assume that maybe we may have a false positive. And I mean by false positive is the parasite that you can see on the microscope. And then we did a free care. So, and that study was, as saying, in a very flooded area. To Niger and Nigeria. So the water is going by gravity in the land so people can cultivate rice. And then we put our study team there. So the age group who had RDT negative and slight positive. So it's based on season. Now you see by season, during the dry season, there is there are more positive than negative. And I will show in this graphic that you have all those false negative, those parasitemia. When we compare to the microscopy, they have more than 2,000 parasites. So it's a deletion that we think is the reason why this test is not very sensitive, because of the deletion. And at the same time, when the parasite is deleted, you see that what we call the multiplicity of infections. So in one child, we have 5 kinds of parasites at the same time in the bloodstream of the child. 7. And this multiplicity of infection is low during the dry season. And we try to explain how maybe the first hypothesis that we draw at that time, there is a spontaneous HRP2, the protein is deleted. Or you have less frequency of multiplicity of infection during the dry season, because we see only this false negative during the dry season. And still, we have a frequent acquisition of knee infection because of less intense transmission during the dry season. Then we think because of a dry season, less mosquitoes, is possible that we are able to see this false negative. So in the mechanism, although we know maybe we have those mechanisms, we think that we need to improve malaria control. And at the same time, we have the sensitivity of our test is going down. So when we are going with malaria control, the sensitivity of the test is going down. So we need to improve the sensitivity. So it's the same result. The sensitivity of the RDT may progressively worsen as malaria control improves. So this big changlan. This false negative should be a priority for country-specific malaria control program. So I assume that Nigeria should do the same study and see the impact of this false frequency, of this false negativity, in order to be able to inform the partner to improve the power. Is that the recombinant or the hybrid parasite is produced within mosquitoes. And this size polymorphism, that the difference of 9 pair bars is consistent with a crossover event. So we mean that there is a cross genetic recombination like a crossover, and that the parasite is able to cut its genome at this point that we call the TCA in the gene we have considered. So the symptomatic deletion, the gene that was deleted to detect children with malaria in order to provide treatment. If the test is negative, there is no treatment. So that's why this should be we should take care of this issue. Now, I'll move to this. This is one of the strategy that WHO asked the country where malaria is seasonal. So we have 1 year rainfall. In 1 year, we have just one period for the rainfall. That's in the Sahel. So this approach was called, or is called actually, seasonal malaria chemoprevention. So before the rainy season, they have to give malaria drug at the beginning of the rainy season for 4 months. So to cover the rainy season, so there will not be case of malaria. So before this program, when we look at this, that work was done by Professor Mamadou Ba. I think he did his thesis in my lab, and he worked with Professor Aline also. So he showed during 4 years that malaria transmission or malaria prevalence peak in October. Only in October. And thus, we look at all those, the efficacy of those drugs used to treat incompetent malaria. And you can see the line, the red line, all the efficacy rate is above this line. And that's a threshold provided by WHO. Any drug below this line is considered no effective. So the second point, actually the two partner drugs works. So we can go to elimination. The second strategy is the vaccination, the immunization. And as I said to you, that this concept of the RTS vaccine developed using the sporozoite antigen started in 1987. So with the vaccine, so we can achieve the 80%. So I asked them, do you know the financial burden of the vaccination program if you want to vaccinate people with that vaccine with 30% of efficacy? So 30% for me is not something we should trust, because for the reasons I was saying before, that because the parasite is able to change its makeup, so anytime parasite is facing to any challenge, it changes. So it will change in the context of the vaccination. And also the genome is very flexible. It can change. So the 30% is not acceptable for us. And also it's possible that this vaccine selects for resistant parasite. for the vaccine. And I did some calculation. If they want to use this vaccine in the immunization program and targeting children less than 59 months of age, 3 million or 4 million of children, that will cost annually about 81 million of CFA per year. So I say no. So if we can do that every year for 20 years, we said we need to change paradigm. And we are now obliged to change the paradigm. In terms of ethics, this vaccine was tested on children. And we suppose that before going to children, you have to do on adults first to see the efficacy before going to children. But they tested on children. So we think there is an ethical problem here. And also in terms of a society, there is a suspicion toward immunization program everywhere. We found that during COVID pandemic that people didn't want to vaccinate. So why you want to vaccinate children? But we ask, start by adults and then we'll go to children. So what we propose if we don't want the vaccine? First is to the household care. Each family should be able to do. And to finish, to conclude, that there is a challenge. And the challenge is the parasite diversity, is the financial burden, and the population mobility, because if you are able to eradicate, to eliminate malaria here, someone will bring the parasite from Lagos or from Abuja. So that's a challenge because you have to keep focus. And then the environmental context. We will not change our environment. And the malaria is tied to the environment. So it's difficult to change. And also lack of political commitment. In Mali, what they call the financial partner technique, they are bringing $25 million every year to the Mali government. If they stop to provide that money, there is no care at all. So we need an indigenous alternative for that. We should have an indigenous solution. And I think we, together, we have idea how to do it. But we need the political commitment. And I will finish to just talk about from the NIH, from Tulane University, and also the team in Bamako. Thank you. A happy birthday, Professor COOKEY. Thank you.
Another resound science techniques and technologies of Bamako, Mali, all the way to be part of this wonderful occasion today. Thank you. Thank you. We are really so delighted. Let's quickly take the next item. And before we go that, if you look there, we have a special interlude of music. A special interlude of music and University of this erudite scholar. This is the concert chorus of the University of Port Harcourt Department of Music, and it's been led by Dr. Gloria Ofeli. Please concentrate so that you sing very well. Dr. Doris is a specialist in conduction. Just carefully watch the handle and you will see wonders today. Meanwhile, the music maestro, the Don, is also seated there, Prophet Onyewankwa.
Symptoms I speak are clear. Listen to my wonder why another one has to
of Kuros, you can see the level of creativity at the University of Port Harcourt. You can see that someone was very sick of malaria, and at the end, when the Uniport discovery, that special medicine discovered from the professor of malaria studies, University of Port Harcourt, the person became whole. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a wonderful one. Please put your hands together. That music was written and composed from the University of Port Harcourt. You can never hear it anywhere. All thanks to Professor ALABO, SJS, COOKEY, JP, OFRO. Please put your hands together. Without this endowment, this brand new music song wouldn't have been discovered. You believe that? Yeah, because it was written for this occasion. Thank you. Thank you. We are going to release this song so that the whole world will hear. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, don't go back. All of you come back. Come back. Don't go. Close the door. Let's quickly move to the next item that we have here. And the next section of today's program is book presentation. I have the honor at this point in time to invite Professor Eukaria Wenchi to kindly step forward to do a citation on the book reviewer. And of course, the book reviewer today is His Royal Majesty King Seyefa Kuruye, Pere of Tarakiri Kingdom, Bayelsa State. Over to you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. The chairman of the occasion and the Vice Chancellor, University of Port Harcourt, Professor Wunari Abraham Judgeville, all protocols duly observed. A citation on His Royal Majesty King Seyefa Kuruye, a tapestry of distinction. In the annals of Bayelsa State's history, the name King Seyefa Kuruye shines like a beacon of intellect and merit. Born on July 28, 1951, in the quaint village of Toroa, Sabama local government area, he journeyed through academia and service reached like a tale spun by a bird. From his scholarly conquest as a John F. Kennedy scholar to his diplomatic surgeons as a British Council scholar, King Kuruye's academic prowess knew no bounds. Top of his class in every institution he graced, one wonders if his textbooks trembled in fear at the mere mention of his name. His royal reign extends far beyond the great boundaries of Tarakiri Kingdom. And as a lecturer at the unique University of Port Harcourt for over 3 decades, he not only educated minds but also regaled colleagues with his wit and wisdom. Who else, ladies and gentlemen, could juggle the roles of president of the senior staff club and sole administrator of Sabama local government area with such finesse? I leave to you to answer. Let us also not forget that the literary escapades of His Majesty King Kuruye is not merely a monarch, but also a wordsmith on the highest order. As the editor of Street Journal of the Bayelsa State Council of Arts and Culture and the managing editor of the University of Port Harcourt Press, he wielded his pen like a scepter, shaping narratives and molding minds. King Kuruye's realm extends beyond academia and governance. he delves into the realm of family and community. Married since 1976 to the enchanting Grace Ifua, formerly Aguama, their union is a testament to love and partnership. Together they have weathered the storms of life, ascending the ranks of Tarakiri chiefs and raising a brood of sons and daughters, who in turn have blessed them with grandchildren aplenty. In recognition of his unwavering dedication, accolades and honors have showered upon him like confetti at a royal celebration. From the Eminent Service Award bestowed by the Nigerian Kingdom, King Koroye's legacy is etched in the annals of time. Today, we have the rare privilege of benefiting from his expertise as he presents an in-depth review of the book, A Historian and His Story. With his keen insights and scholarly acumen, King Koroye's analysis promises to enrich our understanding and appreciation of this seminal work. Chairman of the occasion, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I humbly but confidently present to you a seasoned writer, an exceptional administrator, a profound and proud family man who has left an indelible mark on our society, and a scholar of great repute, His Royal Majesty, King Seyefa Koroye. Long live the King.
Let us welcome His Royal Majesty, King Seyefa Koroye, the Pere of Tarakiri Kingdom, Bayelsa State.
Chairman and our grand celebrant, Aro Subedabo of Opobo. I will stand on this protocol and proceed by saying that we are all here to do honor to a great man, and it is one of those things that you think, hearing myself being referred to by the citationist, I begin to wonder when I still recognize myself. But I am sure that I always recognize ALABO Professor Sylvanus John Sodianye COOKEY. It so happens that for me, this is both a reunion, and first time I'm in this building, even in this area, since I left the university service, a reunion, but also a personal effort to be part of a COOKEY celebration. I turned up at his office in the year 1982 when he was Dean, School of Humanities, seeking a job as a teacher here. And, you know, the Dean's desk looked quite big in those days to the rest of us. And there I sat. My wife reminded me recently, that's why I'm saying this. And he decided that I was employable. And so I got employed in August of '82, only for my dean to emerge 5 weeks later as the vice chancellor of the university. So we never really stayed together in the school. That's why he doesn't know me that much, but I'm delighted to be here in honor of a man who has achieved so much, not for himself alone, but in terms of delivery of service, delivery of what you would call the mentoring that makes people and institutions grow. And so the Opobo Kingdom calling him, installing him Aro Sebedabo, knew what they were doing. That is the captain. Sebedabo, we would say Tebe in my dialect, but I know enough of our jaw spread to know the meaning without even asking anyone. So, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll proceed. Well, you see, as I said, I'm here amongst a great number of old friends, and I'm sure that it is these friends who decided in the way that our people say, if the crocodile is serving the drinks, then the alligator can be reasonably sure of getting a fair share. That it is these friends who must have decided that this our man can do this job. Come. And so here I am. You see, a historian and his story, as told by a political scientist. I wonder where this political scientist is, who is also a substantially gifted writer and who has been a friend to over the years. And I'm delighted that I'm here to present this review of the book, SJS Cookie, a historian and his story, authored by Obinna Nwodim. And too long, I expect. The thing to do is to look at what is, to our understanding, likely to be the relationship between a biographer and his subject. You are a biographer, so you are almost like, in an analogy, you are a painter, and you need a subject to sit, who you will render into an artwork that would be well, something for everyone who beholds it to say, here is great work. But take note, a good painter, but the subject must also be a good model, must be someone that is worthy of that kind of treatment. And I think Dr. Wodim chose his subject very well, and I'm delighted, as my friend, who I don't see here, Professor Etekwe, also noted in his foreword to the book, that he couldn't expect that Professor SJS Cookie would allow, as Nigerians would say, any and anyhow person to write his biography. Put that to him and said, no, he has the approval and is working closely with the subject. So let me gallop through some of these early matters and move on. The author, Obinna Nwodim, presents this book as, in his words, the moving biography of a self-effacing personality who could be described as one who, again quote, came, saw, and conquered, unquote. After giving a straightforward account of the life and achievements of the eminent Nigerian academic and university administration in the first 9 of the 14 chapters of the book, Nwadum, a lecturer in political science at the University of Port Harcourt, where we are, devotes the last 5 to, quote, a summary of COOKEY's ideas over time on political, social, economic issues which are of local and national importance. Now, note 2 parts. One is the biography proper, a historian and his story. The second part is a political scientist's distillation of the thoughts, which include not just observations, but a huge range of recommendations by his subject on matters that have to deal with political, social, and economic issues, one of which, turns out, concerns my humble self as well. Traditional rulers and their role in national development is one of those chapters of the thoughts of Emeritus Professor COOKEY. Now, all chapters, excepting the last 5, are subdivided into several sections, all of 15 in one chapter, thus making for easier comprehension of the narrative. In researching and writing this book, Nwadum had both the approval and the close cooperation of his subject, second Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, 1982 to 89. Of course, he's seated here at the age of 90, looking to all of us as someone to envy as we all dream of moving towards 90, if not beyond. Not surprisingly, the book is dedicated to, quote, the memory of late Mr. John and Mrs. Matilda COOKEY, who laid the foundation on which Sylvanus stood to build his life, unquote. This is by way of showing the rapport between author and subject, such that the dedication is to the bearer of, the 2 bearers, I'm sorry, not one, of the subject, who are of blessed memory. Now, the first 2 chapters, entitled From the Roots, in the mid to late 40s, 1940s, an Opobo man called Micaiah was in my small, very small village then called Tororua as a lone, what you might call, home teacher of children whose parents were ready to get them to come and learn to be literate. There were others across that western part of the Niger Delta, from the eastern Niger Delta. And so education, which is one of the principal themes of this book, the pursuit of it and the management of it, is something that is part of the heritage of our brothers and sisters in the eastern Niger Delta. And some of it was naturally filtered down the creeks all the way to far away Bayelsa and other parts, before the regional governments came to expand access to primary education in the 1950s. From the above primary school, for the very first time, Big Daddy here, who was then moved to Okrika to attend Okrika Grammar School, and passed out yet again with distinction, as he did in the primary school, in 1952. Chapters 3 and 4, entitled Early Employment and University Education, covered the 9 years from his taking up a job in the lands department in Enugu through his gaining admission in 1956 to study history at the University College Ibadan, to his graduation in 1961 with a BA second class upper division. At Ibadan, he emerged as president of the Students' Union in a remarkable foreshadowing of the leadership roles he was to play later in life, especially in the Biafran War and beyond. Wadim writes, I quote, "Sylvanus was interested in international history, although emphasis on African history had become dominant in Ibadan at the time." Looking at 1961, and he cites two classmates of Professor COOKEY, who chose to study Nigerian history and remained behind while our prof went on international duty to the UK. And those two gentlemen, whom I also got to know very well, were Professors Obaro Ikime. No, not Ajele Afibo, I didn't quite know that well, but Obaro Ikime was there when I was myself later on at the University of Ibadan to study for a degree. Now, so COOKEY went to the London School of Economics, and in less than 2.5 years earned a PhD in 1964. His thesis title, Britain and the Congo Question, 1885 to 1913. In narrative terms, chapters 5 and 6, entitled The University Academic and 30 Months Bloodbath, mark our hero's initiation into the most intense 6 years of inter-ethnic crisis in Nigeria. By 1964, when COOKEY became a lecturer at the University of Lagos, the ethnic question had assumed a febrile dimension at the very institution he had just joined. To reappoint the Vice Chancellor, an Igbo man, or to appoint a new one, a Yoruba man, that was the cause of a crisis that drew its vehemence from the rivalries between the major political parties across the country, all of them rooted in their ethno-regional power basis. The Association of University Teachers at UNILAG, then, opposing the appointment of a new person, decides to send a delegation to the Premier of the Northern Region, in faraway Kaduna, to persuade him to support the association's position, but to no avail. And, again I quote, Dr. COOKEY was part of the delegation, unquote. He went to Kaduna as a young person. In the event, quote, 95% of the academic staff left the university. We can make of all of this what we like, depending on your point of view. 95% left. This involved all the academic staff, apart from the Yoruba lecturers and one expatriate staff. And in response to this, the government of Eastern Nigeria decided that those who wanted to join the University of Nigeria to Nsukka would be welcome. So you can see what I called the feverish level of the ethnic question posed on January 15 occurred, followed by the Unification Decree number 34 of May 1966, and the violent reaction to it in the north, in which large numbers of Igbo were killed. Easterners at the University of Ibadan then resolved at a meeting to send a delegation to the governor of the Eastern region. And again I quote, Dr. COOKEY was nominated a member of the delegation. And that began a sequence of events that were to alter the trajectory of his life. This is a turning point, and I want us to pause for a moment before we move. When we move, we are moving into what I call the heart of the 6 years of the intensest national crisis around the question of ethnicity and nationality. The delegation's position was accepted by Colonel Ojukwu. It was, quote, unity with security or no unity at all, unquote. After their return to Ibadan, events unfolded rapidly. The 29th July counter-coup occurred. The head of state, General Ironsi, was killed in Ibadan along with a large number of other Igbo military officers in different parts of the country. As the delegation headed back to Enugu to meet with Colonel Ojukwu again, within short time, to find out what his position was on the recent development, it had become clear to Dr. COOKEY that he had to return to the east. He joined the staff at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. And what then takes the biographer's challenge at this stage to portray how Dr. COOKEY grew in both stature and status during the Biafran War. Dr. COOKEY became a part of the inner caucus of Colonel Ojukwu's administration. He was appointed administrator of Opobo province and commissioner of commerce and industry, shuttling between the locations of the two offices every week, which a young man could do at that time, but not now. He was later appointed the commissioner for special duties so that he could be close to the head of state at all times, as the seat of government now moved from Enugu to Umuahia and later to Owerri. Apart from overseeing relief and refugee affairs, Dr. COOKEY was on the Biafran delegation to peace negotiations. He ended up leaving Biafra with Colonel Ojukwu on the last flight from Uli into exile in the Ivory Coast. The decade from 1970 to 1980 marked his full return to academic life as a lecturer in several universities in quick succession. Queen Mary College, London, 70-71, University of California, Los Angeles, 71-72, State University of New York, Binghamton, 71-72, where he was quite happy, but not so happy because of the cold. He and his dear wife decided that they couldn't stay in a northerly part of the United States like that, and moved down to warmer climes at the State University of New Jersey, Rutgers, where he stayed 6 years. Chapter 8 can be taken as the climactic section of the book, our Uniport. Unique, unique, unique. Because while he had already established himself in the US university system and was on the brink of becoming the first black dean at Rutgers, he got nudge from home, from friends, from family, to think Nigeria, to think home. And so, almost like testing the waters, he takes a sabbatical to come to Uniport, because he had decided that if he coming back home meant Uniport was the best place to come to. And so by 1981, he's here, and by 82, unknown to him and without his even expressing a desire to do so, in spite of ASU, I think we all know ASU, trying to persuade him to run for the VC-ship. He gets a letter written to him from the Secretary to the Government of the Federation announcing his appointment by the head of state, as Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt. Of course, that head of state then was President Shagari. And so begins in this narrative that most impactful phase of our hero's life that has brought us here together, and from what I've gathered since arriving here, brought us in my absence here 10 years ago at 80, and we shall be looking forward to the next round of a decade to do honor to him. Now, I'll point out, so that I don't bore too many of us here who know all of the content of that chapter almost offhand, because we were here. We saw all of them. The return to the faculty system, right from the start of his tenure, and on to the sandwich programs, the CCE, the codec, all of these. Happily, they are the subject of Appendix 2 in the book. So anyone who turns to Appendix 2 in the book will see a huge list of the things that innovation, determination, and courage made our Vice Chancellor then to introduce a range of new things. And as I said, for me, who was here myself, the launch of the University Development Fund at that time in 1986 or 7, was it, was such a great thing, followed by the NUGA hosting of 1988, which all gave rise to some of the older infrastructure now being overtaken by these new ones that we have. So the university administrator has been, and I think will remain, for me, the apogee, the peak of the service delivery, the capacity to lead and lead well in quite difficult circumstances, because all of us know those were the years of SAP and of anti-SAP riots and of students' demonstrations of all kinds and varieties. And all through those 7 years, he went with a calm, steady determination to make things work in the university until his term ended. And it is only fair to point out that that chapter ends with the testimonies of the integrity, fairness, and innovativeness of Professor COOKEY as an academic and an innovator and an administrator from former students and colleagues alike. And I'll name them. Some of them are here. One who is not here is the first name. I don't know if it's here, but Amayanabo Daminabo Opubo, Dr. Emmanuel Beneye. They were students at history and so on. And Professor John Nemugwem, I wonder if he's here. And all the other professors, one of whom I greeted here and say, you are the secretary of the, what they call this one. I said, you are in the book. And he too was surprised, Professor Chijioke Nwuche. And thereafter, the list of professors, Ken Nalugweje, Nimi Briggs of blessed memory, another VC that we had, Joseph Ajienka seated here with us, another VC, former VC, Bioguri Alagwa, Samuel Okiwelu, and Winston Belgam, who is here with us as well. These tributes, I'm naming the persons here because I said some are here, and also because it is important to know that your best judges are likely to be your peers and colleagues, and quite often those below you, because they are looking up at you and seeing perspectives that you yourself or those above you may not even be able to see. So those testimonies, I think, are very important to me and to any reader. In fact, the final testimony is by Professor Michael Fabo Rode, who credits his appointment as Vice Chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, in his words, quote, to Professor Cookey's incorruptible integrity, while the latter served as pro-chancellor of that university from 2005 to 2007. Now, as I said, after this, we've got the, call it, political scientists' summation of the thoughts of our sage Professor Cookey. And they are in the areas of perception of Nigeria's development, where he is reported to refer to several theories of development. Well, for none, let me put it that way, that I can decisively say is the one he supports. But he does cover these theories, and I will not have the time, I suspect, to bore you with looking at those theories one by one. In chapter 11, thoughts on Nigeria's federalism and political stability, obviously very critical to our thinking for Nigeria. This is constitution review season again, and what this addresses is the fundamental need for federalism in ethnically diverse nations such as Nigeria, that it is not something to toy with or to literally think of as an adornment. It is a fundamental existential necessity. And this is, again, as I said, matters relating to our failure to mind the gate against the entry of any ideas of one group or another carrying on without due regard to other groups, be it at state or even LGA levels, not to talk of the national, is a veritable danger that we face all the time, that we've got to work to assure the blocking of any group from proceeding as though they had, and this is, of course, one of the things that comes from the Constitution. The Constitution, in coup after coup in the 1970s into the 80s, was being amended by decrees and was finally compiled into a constitution, being very open to the accession to the centers of power from different blocks and places within the country. These are some of the thoughts summarized by Dr. Nwodem. And last, or second to last but not least, traditional rulers and Nigeria's development. Now, rightfully, it does point out as a historian, the author of King Jaja of the Niger Delta, and a lot more. He knows that before colonialism, all Nigerian, call it clans or communities or whatever, were autonomous. No one was under anyone's rule, unless you got yourself conquered. And that wasn't the easiest of things to do in those days. So only a few empires emerged in most of Nigeria, but much of the country was ruled by autonomous traditional heads. And he posits that these, at that time, concerned themselves with community development and adjudication. But with the coming of the colonial regimes, the adjudicatory function of the traditional rulers began to disappear, because magistrate courts, other courts were jumping around, the lawyers were appearing. You could no longer refer to some kind of shrine or somewhere where you could go and settle this matter once and for all. Neither Amadioha nor my brother Belgium, Henry, you know what I mean, eh? Those Minjuru. So while all this happened, traditional rulers still remain in Nigeria. And this is one of the, well, things that says human nature or human perceptions of their world do change, but they do not change to the extent of distorting or destroying themselves if they can manage it. And so we still do exist. Not too impactful, but I suspect that a great deal of care over time has been paid to this matter by Big Brother and Daddy there. So this is the book in called summary, and it doesn't close my presentation. What will close it is my offering it to all of us here present and to those not here present as a worthy account for all of us to pay heed to of a number of things that are foundational to our experience as Nigerians and as the peoples of the different parts of the country we come from. One, with the coming of the colonial system, we rightly may not have been the wisest or most courageous thing to do, but we rightly chose, and I mean not us, our forebears, to say, go to school. Learn the Oyibo man's knowledge. And so education is key to our perceptions of our modern existence. Going to school, getting your children to go to school, and sacrificing, as his parents did, to ensure that everyone was brought up in a proper educational setting. Two, beyond the centrality of, call it, modern education, climaxing at the university level like here, we also know that we live in a society where we are first indigents of a place and then members of a nation. These are the things to juggle and balance, and I think that the presentation of this book by Dr. Nwodim meets many of the points that need to be noted, and that the life of Professor Sylvanus COOKEY is an exemplary one for taking these things into consideration of our lives as we go along. Mr. Chairman, sorry, I know I wanted to draw your attention before I stop. I thank you and I thank the University of Port Harcourt and all of us present here for the opportunity to have addressed you today. And I think, as I said, in the matter as one of paying a tribute to the university and to one of the best managers of the university that we have ever seen. Thank you all very much.
Just for the fame.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Chancellor, Principal Officers of the University of Port Harcourt, guest lecturer,
book reviewer, the guest lecturer today. We'd like to thank you so much for all that has happened. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I'm elated to be asked to call on, this is a request from the chairman of the organization. In less than 3 minutes, we'll be done with you. Please, can you come up stage? Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Vice Chancellor, this special request from the 7th Vice Chancellor. Well, this is the author of the book we are about to take home. But before that is done, we'd like to say that standing before us is a man with double PhD, one from the University of Port Harcourt, the other from the Ignatius Ajuri University of Education. He began his schooling days right here on the soil of Choba Uniport, having attended UDPS. I don't know why he didn't go to UDSS as well, but then he came back here to do his further studies today. Having worked as a non-teaching staff for many years, he is today a lecturer in the Department of Political and Administrative Studies of the Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Port Harcourt. He is married with children. He is an author, a secretary to ANA, and several others. Time will fail us to go through all that is written there. And so, Mr. Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, here is Dr. Obinna Nwodim, a writer of no mean repute, who has also put this together. Thank you so much, Dr. Obinna Nwodim. Thank you. You may take a bow, sir. Thank you so much. Having done this, we are celebrating a man of timber, caliber, iron, steel, mahogany, and iroko. A man who has turned 90. And turning 90, not be beans. Mr. Vice Chancellor, as we say in our local parlance. Sometimes you see SJS, and I say to myself, it's necessary to spell it out. Sylvanus, John, Sodeye, COOKEY. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I do this with an understanding because I was somewhere and somebody had written RIP for somebody. And everybody was saying, oh, rest in peace. The man said, no, not be rest in peace, I write to. I wrote to remain in punishment. But today we are not going to remain in punishment. Today we're going to launch a book that is done for a nonagenarian, for our fathers. I met you, sir, when I came here one night. All right. We will have the honor to invite a professor of geology, maybe retired but not tired. With the kind permission of the head table, let me invite Professor Michael O.T. to please come do the unveiling of this book that we have heard so much about. Ladies and gentlemen, can we honor and applause for Professor Mike O.T. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We'll take the microphone to you.
Let me remind all of us that we're here to celebrate the birthday of a very great man. We should have some life. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. I'm honored to be called to do this, even though, let me confess that I was drafted in the last minute. I don't know why. But I'm so pleased. This is a gentleman I met 43 years ago here, and 1981, and for anybody to be able to write a book on him, to capture the essence of his remarkable life, that person really deserves, I don't know, honors. And for the first time, I'm seeing a king who is so scholarly, who has given us, who has in less than half an hour told us all there is in the book, but not quite. Because if he did, I wouldn't come and recommend this book to you. My task is actually simple. The book has been written, it's been reviewed, and I'm to unveil it. But and I'm also told, where is Chijoke? All right. But let me just say, in 1982, when he became Vice Chancellor, let me just give you an idea of what the campus looked like. The campus was teeming with dons from all over the world. Americans, Canadians, Indians, Sierra Leoneans, Polish, or Poles as they're called, every part of the world. So it was truly universal. And who would have been able to organize such a congregation of different international scholars, except you had what he had, which is humility, which is civility, which is courtesy. I mean, his ground rules of engagement is courtesy and utmost civility. Even if you were armed to come against him, the way he will smile and talk to you, you will drop that arm. So, Professor COOKEY, we are very happy to be here today. This is not time for speeches. I've already written a tribute, which will be published, or which is being published as we speak, in about 3 Nigerian newspapers. Because I have the greatest honor to have worked with him. 40 years ago, 1984, he appointed me chairman of the Sports Council. And then the rest is history. From there, we had to do the games. This road with which we all drove in today, he laid it out. It was all swamps, and started the construction. His life is so rich, and people have tried to capture it. So it's a great thing that this book is here. I'm going to call on the university administration, the vice chancellor and his principal officers to come, because we need to do this together. And I'm also told that there is a cost for the book, but I think Professor Muche will say that, and how people can pay for it. I'm told that there is a way people can pay for the book here. Professor Muche, can you please come? Please. Royal Majesty, Royal Highness, please also come. But our celebrants should please sit down here. The book, A Historian and His Story, which is the biography of our celebrant, Professor COOKEY. All right. We also have amongst us here those that will help to unveil the book, the chairman, the representative of the chairman of Opobo Local Government Council, Opobo Nkoro. All right. Okay, Jones is adding that. I know you're from there. All right, Opobo Nkoro Council. And he is here to represent the chairman. And I'm told He's the launcher, chief launcher, right? Local government GSL, right? You are ready? Good. All right. So, a historian and his story, we are going to unveil it, and then we will call not just these people here with me, but everybody here. I recommend, I request, I urge you to also have a copy, because I understand that the proceeds is not going anywhere but for a good cause, to establish something in the name of Professor Cookie. So, this line is 25. Yes. And I'm told that you can start with as much as you want. Don't go below 25,000. Right? Don't go below 25,000. And I think we are up to, I don't know, 500 persons here or more, 1,000. So if we gave a lot more than that, we should be able to build. Yes. The Opobo, the relations, Professor Walter Law himself. No. But you will also take a copy. All right. So we will now, Professor Belga. I almost said Urukuru. All right. Where's the Vice Chancellor? Yes, sir. Can you come and hold? Okay. Everybody, join your hands. So this is a copy of the book. It is a master class, and we must commend the author. Warden. We must commend the author, Dr. Warden, for having done this remarkable job. Right. Who else have I left here? Where are all the professors? You must come and have a copy. And all the dignitaries from outside. All right, doctor. All right. So I will.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, we have people out here who all have copies of the book. After this set, we will go to the next one. We have here Honorable Wariopo Senebo Omoso RG Cookie Gam, representing the chairman of Opobo Nkoro LGA, Honorable Dr. Enyedia Cookie Gam, the Balolo of Opobo Kingdom, who is also a holder of the DSSRS. All right, I couldn't have left His Royal Majesty alone here. Let's invite Her Royal the Queen. Okay, Professor. Oh, the Queen is coming. I don't know in Tarakiri Kingdom what we call them. Dr. Mrs. Grace Koloye, welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay, we all have the book, and so before you go to sit, we will begin with the chairman, who is the chief launcher, and after that we will move to my big boss, and then we'll go on from there. Here we are.
Most grateful. My name is Honorable Wariopo Senebo Omoso Regional George Cookie Gam. I'm here to represent the chairman of Opobonkoro local government, who double as a member of the family of ALABO Sir Prof. SJS COOKEY, the ROCB Dabo of Opobo Kingdom. On behalf of the chairman of Opobonkoro local government, Honorable Dr. Enyada Clifford Kukigam, the Balolo of Opobo Kingdom, GSSROS, I hereby launch this book with a sum of 500,000.
The chairman of has set the ball rolling with the hoping sum of 500,000 naira. We hope that when we take the books to him, we are going to get more from him, because this one is a public announcement, and I know that we'll get more. I am told that, okay, the host, who is my Vice Chancellor, will speak. Vice Chancellor, Sir Professor. DVC say you are speaking for all of you. Sir Professor Onari Abraham.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the entire management of the University of Port Harcourt, we will launch this book with an undisclosed amount, which will reach to the chairman of the organizing committee, the 7th Vice Chancellor. He knows how university pays money, so we will reach out to him, but with an undisclosed amount. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chancellor. Please appreciate him. The Vice Chancellor, on behalf of the management team, have given an undisclosed amount. We will give to His Royal Majesty the Peril of Tarakiri Kingdom, right there from Bayelsa State. Sir.
Thank you very much. I am going to do the do, but I am inviting High Chief Dr. Batola Parakaba, by the chairman of the Tarakiri Council of Chiefs, is here with me, and I will invite him to come and join me here, along with the High Chief Dr. Parabobero Ugolo, so that we can show that the others here, but these are people who are in my charge, and I'd like them to be present when we do the Tarakiri launch. Tarakiri, Tarakiri, come with me. Anua, yes, so 100,000 from the Tarakiri. 100.
All right, thank you so much. I almost have to hands on, and also Tarakiri. Thank you so much. We have taken that. Abrof, let's go, sir.
50,000 naira. 50,000 naira.
We have 50,000 naira. Everyone who have copies, we have POS, we have cards given. All right, now we will hear from the unveiler.
No, we're not done yet.
Let's go. All right, Professor Matthew Wegu. I can see also here the dean, the provost of the College of Health Sciences is here. The dean of the Faculty of Clinical Sciences is here. I can see the director of CIMAC is here, and please, we'd like to hear, the unveiler said he will want to hear us say something. If you have taken a copy of the book, please recall that the least you can give us is 25,000 for one copy. But because it's a launch, please, we request that you top something up, do something about it. And so, Prof, we'll go on from there. Well, I'm conferring with the unveiler whether in giving you copies, whether we'll be putting you under pressure. We do not want to put anybody under pressure, but we know that you will do something for your library. We've listened to malaria and phytomedicine and all of that, and we know that this will also help us in some way. I'd like to invite the Provost College of Health Sciences, University of Port Harcourt, Professor Frank Briggs, to please come